It's finally happened, folks. After over 2 decades, I have gone camping. I went with my family here recently, and I'm here to talk all about it. This is How to Speak Nebraskan. Camping after 21 years. That's right. My family and I went camping the other night, right before Father's Day weekend. And I gotta say, it was quite the experience. And the reason why is because my wife and I have been married for just over 21 years. I know, seems like a long time. People always say, how have you been married that long? I'm 44 years old. We got married at 23 years old. So we were kind of young. So, that's how that happens, right? You do the math. When we got married, I mentioned to her several times the idea of going camping. I was like, "Would you want to go camping? Like, we should try that." And she really never had an interest, never really wanted to do it. She had camped a few times when she was little, a little bit of tent camping. Then they got a pop-up camper and all that. I only went camping a handful of times when I was younger. And the year before I got married, I'd gone with some friends. We road tripped out, did the whole like Arches National Park, Grand Canyon, a few other places, Colorado. Had a great trip, and so my wife was never really into it. So I have not camped. I have not camped since I've been married. And you'd be like, "Well, Jeff, you don't have to camp with your wife. You could go on with friends or with other people." Well, yeah, you're right. I could do that, but I haven't. And so, imagine my surprise when I came home last Friday night, the weekend of Father's Day weekend, and my family was like, "Guess what? We're going camping." And sure enough, my wife and my kids, they took me camping. And so now I will say, I was getting ready. Coming home imagine you're coming home on a Friday from work at the end of the day. You've had a long week, and you're excited for the weekend, and you're told, "Oh, we're going camping right now. Get ready." So my wife kind of tipped me off that something was going to happen. All right. So I kind of knew something's coming down the pipeline. So that way she didn't have to feel bad and take me totally by surprise. But I was surprised and it was very exciting and we had a lot of fun. And I do have to say that after doing this, I have thought to myself, what took us so long? After I kind of got to the point where I was like so like had been so long since I've gone that I'm kind of like I don't even really know what I would do. Like have a tent and like what do you take? It's just camping, people. It's really not that big of a deal. I don't know why it took us so long. I'm a little like actually looking back, I'm happy we did it, but I'm like disappointed in myself that I didn't like just say, honey, let's do this and let's go. Because she would have gone with it. She never really wanted to, but if I would have like it really strongly wanted it, she would have been a good sport. And so, anyway, I'm going to talk real quick about the things I loved and the things we would do different. So first off, things we loved. Um, when we were hanging out by the campfire in the evening, there was a moment when my wife said, "Do you notice how nobody's on their phone right now?" And I was like, and both of the kids, I don't even remember what they were doing. They were just kind of sitting there. I think my son might have been grilling marshmallow, perhaps. My daughter, I don't know, maybe she was petting my dog. I'm not really sure. We brought our dog with us. I don't really know what they were doing, but she's right. We were kind of just hanging out, and I hadn't even thought about it. The only time we got our phones out was to take some pictures periodically. You gotta take pictures of the occasion. We all know how that goes. But that's the only thing we really used phones for, and it was a lot of fun. We kind of walked around. They have the Platte River. You could go swimming in there and all that. So that was a lot of fun. There was kind of a swimming lake nearby. We went to Two Rivers, by the way, Two Rivers State Recreation Area, north of Ashland. In case you're wondering where we went, great place. And yeah, no one was on their phones, and no one even really thought about it. And that was, I think, maybe the more surprising part. A lot of times you're at your house and everyone's kind of on their phones or on a TV or on a screen, and you're kind of all duds together. And sometimes, it's nice, but you do it too much and it drives us all crazy. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Another thing I loved is, we had kind of our cozy little tent area, all the blankets set up, and it was our own little plot of land for the night. And what I mean by that is you are always in a house or a hotel usually, and so to be just like outdoors and like this is your space, like this is what you got to work. You're working with what you have. You've got your car and whatever you brought in it. You got your tent over here. You got your campfire site, some folding chairs, and like a picnic table, and then whatever you brought with you. And so it was just kind of cool to utilize space in that way. We set up our tent and, realized real quickly in our normal, very average dome shaped looking tent that we'd set up, that holds 4 or 5 people, perfect for us, family of 4 and a dog. We set it up, and we didn't have a tent cover on it. You know how there's like a screen you can like look through it. You can see through. And I have to say that was not the worst thing ever. Well, it was not gonna rain that night, so that's why I'm like, well, this can work. It's not gonna rain. We'll be fine. But we wouldn't normally want to do this. So if I fell asleep actually looking up at the stars, believe it or not. We were all laying there together and we could see the Big Dipper and some shooting stars. And I mean, it's weird. It sounds so like nostalgic and kind of cheesy, but falling asleep under the stars, kind of cool. And I would recommend trying it at some point. Can't say that I've ever really done that because I could actually see out. And so I actually really enjoyed that aspect to it. Another surprise that happened that was really cool was, in the summer here in June, the sun rises early, right? I mean, it's up by like 5:30 or so. The sky is lit up because the sun is on its way up. And somewhere between 5:30, maybe 5:45 or somewhere around that range, you're kind of still in your sleep, but all of a sudden realizing that you can hear a ton of birds. There were so many thousands of birds chirping. I don't think I've ever actually experienced that before. Just being outside when you're kind of in this area, it was this open area where there's tents around you, but kind of all spaced out, but there was a lot of trees, and oh my gosh, thousands of birds had all woken up. They were hungry. You could tell this is when they're most active. They're going out and they're getting their food, and I don't even know, but it was wild. And it kind of woke all of us up, and we were just kind of started laughing in the tent, like, do you hear those birds? That's crazy. And I've never experienced that before. It was actually a really cool sound. In fact, I kind of thought, gosh, that'd be like a great like alarm clock sound. Just have like pretend like it's a real you're outside and the birds are just starting to chirp. It's kind of loud and obnoxious, but it's kind of natural sounding. I enjoyed it. And I was laying there and I said, what kind of sounds fun? And my son took the words right out of my mouth. He goes, going swimming. And I was like, actually, yeah. Like we'd swam the night before in the Platte River. The river was like a perfect temperature. It was cool, but it was not too cold by any means this time of year. He and I went swimming in the Platte River shortly after 6 a.m. That's right. Me and my son, and we took our dog with us. My daughter and my wife opted to sleep longer. But it was so much fun. And we had a great time being able to just go hang out, swim in the Platte River. It was wonderful. And so highly recommend it. It was a good time and we had a blast. Came back and actually just had hot dogs for breakfast because we just wanted something heavier than the muffins we brought. Went fishing and caught a few fish. It was great. Now, some things I would do different. Number one, we probably would maybe want a bigger tent. I don't know. We could survive with this tent more, but if we did it like a lot more, I think we'd want a bigger tent. All the tents around us, most of them were larger and nicer and kind of cooler looking. And we're like, yeah, I bought the tent we have like on a whim during COVID to set up in our basement. I never actually used it outside. It worked. It was fine, but maybe a bigger tent. A tent cover, like I said, we you could see through it, and I put a sheet over half of it because my daughter wanted it covered. And but I gotta say, we should have brought the tent cover. So lesson learned there. An extra pair of flip-flops. I recommend two pairs of flip-flops actually. That maybe sounds like a first world like complaining thing. The reason why I say that is if you're going to swim and like walk on the beach like we did for the Platte River, you end up having kind of your dirty pair of flip-flops, but there's a point at which you kind of want your cleaner pair of flip-flops like by your tent because my flip-flops were so muddy and gross that like the only way they were going to be clean is like to be rinsed off by a hose. And I kind of rinsed them off a little bit with like a water bottle, but like I kind of just wish I had like a different pair of flip-flops in the moments when I was not going swimming or to that area. Um, Extra firewood. We had two bundles of firewood, which was perfect. And so we got lucky. We only bought one, but we had brought a couple peat logs with us that we had, and so extra firewood would be good. Some citronella candles to avoid off bugs. It was a little bit buggy. You have to bring some off and spray yourself a little bit. It was not terrible, but definitely something to be aware of. And I guess it depends on the time of year that you go. We could have thought through our food situation better. We had hot dogs, s'mores, which was great, but I think for breakfast we got lucky. We still had some hot dogs because like we were hungry in the morning, so you need something with some substance, and so that we had we did hot dogs, and so that actually kind of worked out. I will also say our sleeping situation. The other thing I learned. This is my last kind of lesson learned. The sleeping situation went. Overall good because but the reason why is because we brought a ton of blankets with us. I'm saying I don't know how many, at least 25 or 30 or maybe more. I mean like it was a ridiculous amount. Like every thick blanket we could find and a few sleeping bags and soft blankets, we just threw it all, folded them all up and put them in the car. The downside with that, we have a minivan and between the extra pillows and blankets we brought, seriously, half of the minivan in the back half was full of just blankets because they take up so much space. And that part, not great. The good news is that we were comfortable, so that was good. But it really took up way too much van space. And then you want to clean the blankets because they've been outside, like in a tent, and so you feel like you have to wash them, and then you've got a ton of crap to wash. So those little self-inflated air mattresses or a cot or something, and then some blankets or sleeping bags would be good, and that way you can be a little more efficient. It all worked itself out. We were comfortable, but I don't know that I would want to bring like that many blankets again. It just felt kind of overkill. My daughter may or may not have got just sort of taken that to the next level with how many blankets she packed and everything too. So there you have it. Our first camping experience as a family. My first camping experience with my wife in over 21 years. Like I said, I'm actually a little bit embarrassed to admit that. We've been asked by a few people that we've told, did your kids like it and would you do it again? And the answer is yes and yes. Our kids really enjoyed it. In fact, we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we waited too long to go again. I think we need to go sooner rather than later, just because you want to do it while the feeling is still kind of fresh and while it feels like you kind of know what you're doing, and that way you each time you go, you hopefully like learn what you want to bring with you and everything. So yeah, we would definitely do it again, and yeah, it was great. And so on that note, I want to say this: my next podcast interview is going to be with someone that did exactly what I just did, but has a way cooler story to share. Stacy Dam is someone who started her own business called Set Your Sights, and so she's working on basically helping people being able to reserve their camping locations easier and more efficiently using technology. A lot of these state parks and places, they're just like on these like, government websites, and they're not the most efficient or like modernized or up to date. You know how that stuff goes. And so she's working to try to change that, and it's really cool. And she went camping for the first time with her family 5 years ago during COVID when she was trying something new with her family. Remember when we were all trying new things with our family? And she did that, and so it was really cool. It's a very cool interview. I was very excited to interview her, and I will say this: my family had the idea to take us camping, but my interview with Stacy and me telling my wife about it and telling her like all the things that Stacey's done might have been part of the impetus to kind of to push us over the edge to finally actually go. And so I do give a little bit of credit to this interview with Stacey of being what might have eventually been a catalyst to lead to my family camping. So for that, I thank you, Stacey, and I encourage you all to listen to it. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a really cool story. I was so excited to visit with her, and definitely I would do it again. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so with that. Y'all have fun, give it a shot. Listen to this next one with Stacy Dam. And yeah, this is How to Speak Nebraskan.